Oh, that's a chute. Yep. I think it is. There's the, like, I think it's the boot and that's the bottom. Oh, check that. Yep. Yep. There's one. Yep.
This is the moment when officers discover a buried body in the middle of the New Mexico desert. A man who had been missing for years.
Tell me what happened, man.
I killed somebody a long time ago.
Okay. Why? What happened?
I don't know.
This is Tony Peralta, the man who called the police and confessed to murdering his landlord over a decade earlier. His name was William Blodgett, and they had no idea that his killer had been hiding in plain sight the entire time, until one phone call changed everything. On May 1st, 2023, police in Roswell, New Mexico, received a 911 call that left the entire department horrified.
911, what's the address of your emergency? Sir, tell me exactly what happened.
Well, I killed somebody.
You killed somebody?
Yes, sir.
The man on the other end didn't just admit to a crime, he confessed to murder. Calmly, clearly, and without hesitation. The caller was Tony Peralta. He gave his full name, location, and asked to be picked up. Police rushed to meet him, hoping to learn the full story behind the murder he just admitted to.
What's going on, man?
I just wanted to report a murder that I did a long time ago.
Okay, a long time ago?
Yeah,
Or today?
a long time ago.
What is that?
I buried him in his house
Okay.
on 5th Street.
What's the address?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No, sir.
How'd you get up here? You walked?
Yeah,
This is a long time ago, is what he's saying.
I'm just tired of covering it up already.
You try to cover it up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tired of living with my life, sir.
The guilt?
Hell yeah.
Okay. You doing okay? You're all sweaty. You run here or?
No, I drank.
Oh, you drank all that water right there?
No.
Okay. Alrighty.
Finish this.
Yeah, go ahead. Would you show me where it's at?
What?
If I took you, would you be willing to show me where it's at?
Do I have to go there right now?
Well, that way we know where the house
I'll
is.
take you.
Okay. I'll let you finish your thing.
Let's go.
Okay. You don't want to finish it? You're good there?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
fucked anyways.
All right, just hang on, okay? Relax. No. Just say name. Call 911.
I did.
You did? Yeah, we already got this. This guy has the house. No. Just hang out right here, okay? We'll talk about this guy. Hang out right here. So he's saying, hang on. He's saying he killed somebody a long while ago and he buried the house, some house on 5th Street. That's what he said. So I asked him if he's willing to show me where the house is. He's like, yeah, I'm willing to show you where the house is. So that's all we got right now. He doesn't know the address. A long time ago. That's it. Nothing current. So I'm gonna take him up there. See if you're willing to show me the house. Wait, huh? I haven't figured it out yet. I literally just was hearing conversation stuff. So, what year was this at? You don't remember? Okay.
It's been so long.
It's been a long time. Okay, we're gonna go all the way around over here. Okay, and my car's way over there, so we're gonna walk this way. Good.
There he was, a little sweaty, but eerily calm. He had confessed to killing a man in cold blood, yet when officers arrived, he looked like someone reporting a parking ticket. Tony lit a cigarette, asked for a minute to finish it, then got into the patrol car without a fight. To understand this horrific confession, we need to go back to January 2009. William Blodgett, who was 69 at the time, was reported missing after his children hadn't heard from him since Christmas Eve 2008. Police began their investigation, and there was no forced entry, no signs of a struggle. Blodgett's car was still parked at his home. Officers questioned friends, neighbors, and family. Then they focused on a tenant, Tony Peralta, then 24. The two had reportedly argued. Blodgett had even tried to evict Tony shortly before he vanished. But police would later discover that even though Tony was questioned, there was no hard evidence. No body, no confession, no case. The trail went cold. That is, until Tony called 911. Just like that, the case was back on and Tony was in custody. On the way to the station, Tony remained quiet. Well, aside from complaining that the cuffs hurt. He told officers he'd had a drink and taken some medication before calling. Still, he was completely clear and cooperative. Once inside, Tony explained why he came forward. He'd been living with the guilt for too long, and it was time to confess. He admitted to murdering his landlord, though he only remembered him as Bill. Officers put Tony back into a cruiser. He said he'd take them to where Blodgett was buried. But when they arrived, he couldn't remember the exact location.
At the very end? I'm sorry?
Why didn't they smell his body?
I don't know. Hang on, okay? Saying pretty much all the way back is where you're buried.
Inside the shed?
Yeah, there's this little shed
Inside
thing.
of it?
That's what he's saying.
This could have been a red herring, a waste of time from a man under the influence. But a few minutes later, Tony gave them more detail. They returned for another round of questions.
Tony,
Yeah.
here's the deal, brother. We need some more details
All right. What do you
to
want?
be able to prove it.
Okay.
So let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
What year do you think this was?
I don't remember.
How old do you think you were?
I don't remember.
What does the victim look like? Or what
I
did the
don't
victim look
remember.
like? What do you mean you don't remember?
I don't remember. I just know that I killed him
Why do you know that?
because I knew that I killed him.
What was the reason that you killed him?
I don't have a reason.
You didn't have a reason. So were you guys arguing?
No. I just felt stupid one day. I guess.
You just felt dumb? What was he doing when you killed him?
Being a good man.
But how'd you kill him?
I killed him.
How? Did you shoot him?
No.
You hit him with a bat?
I killed him.
How'd you kill him?
I don't remember.
Did you stab him?
I don't remember.
You did earlier.
I did earlier.
You're just repeating the things that I'm saying now. You see how I don't believe you? If I just came to you and I just said all the time, I don't know, I don't remember, would you believe anything I'm saying? Said, hey sir, what's the law on this? And said, I don't know. You think you trust me? Yeah. We're gonna go try and find him.
Okay.
But I don't have the details on where he's at.
I told you where he was at.
Where's he at inside the house?
I don't remember.
Huh? Where's you bury him?
On the side house right there.
Okay. What part?
The part right there.
Yeah, but what part of that room?
The left side.
The left side?
Yeah, if you dig in, if you pull the board up and dig them up.
We're gonna leave you here for right now.
What do you mean?
Because we gotta do this. So you're gonna stay here.
Okay.
If we find something, then obviously we'll have more to talk about.
Alright, cool.
But we need details to start working on this. So if you
I
can
already
dig it,
gave you every single detail.
right? But there's a lot of I don't know. So I'm saying if you start to remember those things, let
Alright.
somebody know.
Alright.
Okay. First thing.
Okay.
Okay. Otherwise, you're gonna stay here for a little while.
Okay.
Okay. And if this is a lie, you're gonna be charged with false reporting. Okay.
This time, Tony knew exactly where the body was. With reinforcements, officers began their dig. As officers began their search, they followed Tony's description, looking for a hollow patch of ground where he claimed the body was buried, but unfortunately for them, the first spot turned up nothing. It could have been a false lead, or worse, a sign that Tony had no idea what he was talking about. Still, they pressed on. They searched every inch of the shed, and that's when they noticed it. A single loose piece of wood in the far corner. Beneath it was a grave.
Oh, that's a shoe.
Yep. I think it is. That's I think it's the boot, and that's the bottom sole of it.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Because you can see they come running up right there. So we need to get that out and that'll kind of determine a little bit more, you know?
Yeah, because that's the sole of it.
Yeah, yeah, that would go right there.
I've been pulling to see if a foot falls out.
Okay.
Getting very scientific.
It's 7 years or more ago, I'm not going to lose anything.
Oh, check that. Yep. Yep. Yep.
There's one.
Yep. 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 Okay. Well, let's get out. I got the drill. Is this hammer ours?
No.
Okay.
Is the hammer ours?
No.
Okay. Well, there's that. Okay, Tony.
Here it was, the damning evidence. A boot with a bone inside. This meant that Tony's story wasn't a drug-fueled fantasy, it was real. All of it. And now, with physical evidence and a confession on the record, officers had no choice but to move forward. Tony was taken back to the station for another round of interrogation. In the first interview, he was calm, eerily so. He made it clear he wasn't trying to run from what he'd done. According to him, he'd been carrying the weight of the murder for years, and he simply couldn't live with the guilt anymore. He confirmed it all, that he had murdered his landlord, though he only remembered him as Bill, that it happened years ago, and that he alone knew where the body was buried. Through it all, Tony never flinched. He seemed fully aware of the gravity of what he was saying, almost like he'd rehearsed it in his mind for years. He wasn't looking for a deal, he just wanted to tell the truth. But in the second interview, something cracked. That's when Tony broke down in tears. No more calm, no more control, just a man coming undone.
Is that good? Is the hamburger good? It's McDonald's, but it is what it is, right? So they already read you your Miranda rights. You're aware of all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you know again, okay? It's something that we have to do. But you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say cannot be used against you in the court of law. You have the right to talk to a lawyer and have him or her present with you before and during questioning. And if you cannot afford to hire one, will be appointed representative no expense.
Alright.
Do you understand all that? Okay. What time did you call the police department?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Tell me what happened, man.
I killed somebody a long time ago.
Okay. Why? What happened?
I don't know, sir.
I've been told his name is Bill, but it's really William, right?
I don't know.
You were living with him at the time? Okay. Back then, you guys had some kind of issue. Was it about a wallet? No? Do you remember what happened? Why?
I just remember I just needed to confess. That was it.
Okay. How did you do it? Do you not remember or you just don't want to say it?
I just don't want to talk anymore.
Okay. Okay. Well, it's off your shoulders now, man.
Thank you for the prayer.
You're welcome. You're welcome. No problem. You know, I wasn't around back then, 2009. So, you know, my own curiosity is, you know, I want to know. And, you know, I can read the reports from back then, and that's why I said the wallet thing, because that's what we were told. I know he was an older guy. I know that you were living with him, right? You guys were roommates. He owned the place, right?
I don't know.
But he allowed you to stay there, like you were kind of renting. Did you pay him money to live there, or
I don't remember.
he just okay? But you guys were living together. All right. So, what happened, man?
I don't know.
He admitted to carrying the weight of the murder for years, that it haunted him. He claimed that confessing was the only way for anyone to heal. Himself, the family, and even the officers handling the case. He knew what he had done, and had finally reached the breaking point.
Did you use a gun?
I don't remember.
Okay. Well, how about this? Why don't you tell me why you decided to come forward?
Because my heart hurts.
Okay. It's been eating at you for a while?
Fuck yeah.
Okay. I know this is probably a big hard decision you had to make. You've been thinking about it for a while?
Every day.
Yeah, I've never been in that position, but I can imagine how hard that decision was to step up and
At least nobody
Don't tell
doesn't have to
someone.
worry anymore.
yeah, I mean, I can imagine his family. You know, he was an older guy, but you know, his family never knew what happened, and that's kind of where I stand, because I want to be able to tell them, you know, what happened. His
Tell
son.
them that he was a good man and I should have did what I did. You know?
Okay. Yeah, it was. His son is the one that reported it to us back then about not being able to get a hold of his dad.
Why didn't anybody say anything after that? Why didn't everybody just let him fucking slide?
What do you mean?
I don't know.
Okay. The cops talked to you back then, I assume?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You don't. I just want to know the story. I'm sure the family wants to know the story. You know, things.
He was always good to me, and I took his life for no reason. And I don't have an excuse.
What did you
A lot of
use?
people have an excuse. I don't have one.
According to the reports, the officers had found a set of dentures and some bones, exactly where Tony said they'd be. The dentures were compared to William Blodgett's dental records pulled from the original missing persons report. The match was conclusive, and Tony was charged with first-degree murder. He didn't show up to his initial hearing. A trial was scheduled for October 2023, and eventually he was sentenced to 15 years in prison. But was that enough? A man vanished for nearly 15 years, his body hidden, his family left without answers, and his killer? Walked in, confessed, got 15 years. Was justice served? Or was it too little, too late? Let us know what you think in the comments.